Welcome to The Bottom Line Up Front, the podcast that cuts through the noise to deliver distilled insights from today's most important technical webinars, presentations, and demonstrations. Designed for federal and military IT leaders, each episode breaks down complex technologies into mission-ready takeaways so you get the key points fast. Whether it's cybersecurity, cloud architecture, or emerging defense technologies, we highlight what matters most and how trusted integrators like ATPGov can help implement and operationalize these solutions across your agency or command. No fluff, no filler, just the bottom line up front. Today, we're talking about something that's quickly becoming a national security priority: industrial control system threat intelligence. ICS isn't just an IT problem anymore, it's part of the modern battlespace. This episode of The Bluff is based on a recent Dragos public sector session and their Worldview intelligence platform. But more importantly, it's about what this intelligence means for federal agencies, the military, and the critical infrastructure that underpins national power. Because OT cyber is fundamentally different from IT cyber, and the stakes are far higher.
They're not there to just cause mayhem and everything. They're there to just sit and wait for that day, that time when things go kinetic somewhere in Indo-PACOM. They have full view of their own battlefield, their target set within our electric grid and everything like that. And we know about that. It's a spectrum of goals and opportunities that these groups are operating with. Different than just normal enterprise APTs that we look at, and different threat actors and hacktivists and whoever these gangs are. On the OT side, one of the main reasons to get in there is to cause harm to civilian populaces.
The fight for critical infrastructure is already underway, and threat actors are inside the wire. Dragos makes this point bluntly. Nation-state actors are actively targeting civilian infrastructure, and not just for espionage, but for physical disruption at scale. Power grids, maritime infrastructure, industrial manufacturing, logistics, supply chains, and increasingly systems connected to military operations and the defense of the industrial base.
We've just released our 9th annual year in review. Heavy on the ransomware. We saw 3 new threat groups, and there was a lot of shift going from just the reconnaissance, the scanning, all that kind of stuff, to the operational effects that Camerasite and Electrum, seeing Bauxite go out there and do things and really getting effects on cyber physical systems. And the game is changing. We're seeing more boldness and more actual action, more activity on the impact side instead of just crawling around a network or seeing what's out there or investigating. These groups are getting smarter. They're getting much more skilled in enemy networks, us being the enemy.
The modern battlefield isn't isolated anymore. Operational technology is now part of the warfighting domain. And one of the biggest takeaways from the session is that you cannot defend OT environments the same way you defend IT. OT systems are legacy, mission critical, and often impossible to patch. Downtime isn't an option. Networks are flat and trust-based. Attacks rely on living off the land techniques and not malware, just misuse of legitimate system functions. And the consequences are physical. They could be loss of power, disrupted port operations, interference with logistics or fuel distribution. All that considered, this is an entirely different kind of fight. Dragos walked us through several real-world examples that highlight how serious this threat landscape has become. In Poland, 2 threat groups coordinated a grid attack, one conducting reconnaissance and the other executing disruption. That's a mature cyber kill chain applied directly to operational technology. Vault-type nation-state actors are quietly maintaining persistent access inside power grids, gathering intelligence, and waiting for potential kinetic conflict scenarios. That's pre-positioning, not opportunistic hacking. Maritime targeting groups like Graphite are focusing on ports and naval infrastructure, directly tied to defense logistics and force projection. And then you have opportunistic actors like Bauxite scanning internet-facing OT assets and exploiting poorly secured PLCs. That's low sophistication with a super high impact. As mentioned, the threat landscape is shifting from recon to effects. Actors aren't just gaining access, they're preparing to execute disruption. So what does Dragos actually bring to the fight?
We're not the only players in this space. Of course, OT security is a pretty niche kind of realm, and Dragos has good name recognition. People are always like, oh yeah, I've heard of Dragos. I love the dragon, I love the branding, all this kind of stuff. But what do you guys do? Like, what's so cool? What's so good about Dragos? And I always like to really hone in on the fact beyond all of our really, awesome capabilities, all the services that we provide, it's It's the fact that we're grounded in threat intelligence, is that we come from intelligence. The founders come from the NSA. We come from these incidents where they were threat hunting and responding and everything like that. And the whole premise of Dragos is an intelligence-driven approach, which is the major differentiator between us and our competitors, because we don't just create software to create software. We're not just trying to bolt on another tool into a tech stack.
Their Worldview platform and intelligence fabric represents an intelligence-driven approach to OT cybersecurity. They track adversaries in detail with TTPs, behavior patterns, and operational intent. They provide ICS-specific indicators of compromise, vulnerability prioritization based on operational impact, and continuous reporting through critical alerts, weekly summaries, and executive-level insights. But the real differentiator is that all of this is built on real-world incident experience. Ukraine grid attacks, Trisis and Triton, and global adversary tracking. This isn't theoretical, it's operationalized intelligence. And when you distill everything down, a few key points stand out. Operational technology is now a primary attack surface in modern conflict. Threat actors are operating with patience and coordination, not randomness. Intelligence, and not just tooling, is the foundation of effective defense. Defense requires context and not just alerts, and integration determines success. Ergo, tools alone don't just deliver mission outcomes. For federal agencies, the DoD and national labs, this translates to mission assurance. It's all about power availability for installations, secure logistics and port operations, protection of industrial-based suppliers, and resilience of critical infrastructure that supports operations. OT cybersecurity is now part of readiness, just like cyber command operations, supply chain risk management, and zero trust initiatives. It's part of the same strategic picture. So what's the bottom line up front? The threat is real. The access already exists, and OT is now part of the warfighting domain. Intelligence is the foundation of defense, and preparation happens before the conflict, not during it. Agencies that succeed will be the ones that integrate intelligence, operationalize it, and align it directly to mission outcomes. Therefore, Dragos provides us the intelligence, and we ensure that it actually works in your environment. Because insight without execution doesn't actually move the mission. Our goal is to help agencies operationalize threat intelligence, integrating Worldview into your SOC and your SIEM workflows, aligning intel with mission-specific environments, and supporting IT and OT convergence securely. We'll help you accelerate deployment, integrate APIs and threat feeds, and build reporting pipelines. The goal is to reduce dwell time, improve detection and response, and prioritize vulnerabilities that actually impact operations. ATPGov wants to act as your trusted advisor, translating technical capabilities into mission value, supporting compliance, and providing cleared engineering support. Be sure to reach out to ATPGov today at www.atpgov.com or email info@atpgov.com, or check us out on social media on LinkedIn. Thanks for listening, and be sure to subscribe to The Bottom Line up front wherever you get your podcasts, and stay tuned for more distilled insights from the front lines of tech and national security. So until next time, stay secure, stay mission ready.